Awesome! Today I'm going to look at two-way radios from Retevis, and to be precise, those are the Retevis RT28, the PMR version that's for Europe. Usually there's also an equivalent version with 4 times the output power for the US. So if you're in the US, please make sure to buy the FRS one, because that's legal in your country. You always want to be observant of that. And yeah, awesome for tuning in. In part 2, I'm going to do a quick unboxing of these radios, show you a few close-up shots like you know from my other videos. And in part 3, I'm going to go outside, do the range test, walk my usual test route, transmit a couple of times and film that with my camera, so that when I come back I see, okay, did that sound good? Was there some interference? How does it stack up against the other radios that I tested? And then I'm going to give you a quick summary and conclusion. Also, it's always interesting to note what kind of accessories are included with which radios. Some radios that are meant for casual use, they only have a USB cable or maybe a USB charging dock. Others, they have like a separate charging dock with power plug and so on. So that can be interesting to see the accessories, and that's what we're all going to check out today. Range-wise, quick disclaimer, if you're somewhere in a city and you have a lot of concrete buildings, that tends to reduce the range. And if you're in the countryside, open pastures, that gives you more reach, because the signal can travel freely. So my test route is somewhere in between, maybe a little bit more on the light side. I only have few buildings and a couple of trees. So just if someone asks again, I've told you right now. Let's get rolling with the unboxing. Awesome you're here. Let's get started. No, very good. Let's have a closer look at the Retevis RT28. Very nice, compact, simple two-way radios for the European and North American market. Like I told you, respectively, the PMR for Europe and the FRS for the States. You get 2 radios, 2 belt clips, USB charging cable, and 2 of these straps that you can use. And why don't I show you the battery pack real quick. You have this release button down here, and once you push that, you can take the battery off. And let's bring that into focus. I can show you a close-up shot. The battery pack has 1000 milliamp hours. So sometimes there's a blue label here, but here apparently not. So let's slide this back in. And then note these charging contacts. Some Retevis radios, they come with a charging dock. If you plan to use your radios very frequently, let's say every day, then make sure you get a charging dock, because that's the most convenient method. Those, I think, are more for the occasional user. That's why they have a charging option via this USB cable right here. So you want to make sure you have some USB power supply handy where you can plug this in, and then you can charge both of these radios by connecting them to USB. Although I think the USB plug is also, I mean, if you want to use it on a daily basis, I would go for something of a charging dock. I think this is just more durable and more convenient. But for the occasional user who only uses this sometimes, USB is probably totally sufficient. So now let's turn them on real quick and see what we get. So you see, they talk English, which is kind of nice.
2, 3, 4.
Very minimalist design. I like this about these radios. This is probably one of the most common design type of these radios. There are a lot of different, what's the correct word for that, clones, or this design is the most common. It has just the right size. It's comfortable in my hand. And the usability is very simple, it's straightforward. Volume button, channel button. Let's put it on channel 10.
8, 10.
And then transmit with the other one as well. Red is transmit, green is receive, and the other way around, red transmit, green receive. So that works very nicely. And that's the way I'm going to test them. I have to say, Retevis, most of the time, 90% of the time, or even more, the radios have an excellent price value. I think it was only once that I had the Retevis radio that wasn't up to spec, but then usually you can return it. The company has really good customer service. One thing you might want to consider if you're planning to get a bunch of those, obviously that would put a strain on your USB power supply. So if you are a little bit more serious user, you can get these 5-port USB chargers as well, which allows you to charge multiple devices quickly, a little bit more for the serious user. And yeah, keep in mind, a lot of radios from Retevis, they come with a docking station, a USB docking station, so you could, for example, put 5 USB docking station radios into this, which is kind of handy. Without further ado, let's jump into the range test and see how these Retevis two-way radios perform. Let's get started.
And range check at the first test point. We are testing the Retevis PMR two-way radios. Test point number 1, 420 feet of distance, 420 feet, and usually this should be a good, excellent sound quality. Test point number 1, 420 feet. And range check of these Retevis radios. Now at test point number 2 on a really awesome spring day. Test point number 2, 790 feet, approximately 790 feet. Let's see how these Retevis radios perform over my usual test route. Keep in mind this is the European version, and yeah, in the US you would take the FRS with 4 times the output power. Test point number 2. And again, guys, I reached the next test point on an awesome spring day. Really enjoyable weather outside here with really pleasant temperatures. Test point number 3, 1,250 feet. 1,250 feet of these European PMR radios from Retevis. Test point number 3. And range check of the Retevis radios. Now at test point number 4, the awesome weather today is test point number 4, 1,540 feet, 1,540 feet of the Retevis PMR radio. Test point number 4. And I reached the next test point for these two-way radios from Retevis. Now at test point number 5, with 2,000 feet of distance. Let's see how this sounds when I come back, and I'm kind of curious about the quality of the transmission. Test point number 5, 2,000 feet. And range check at the next range checkpoint. The Retevis two-way radio, test point number 6, with approximately 2,300 feet. Some radios, the European PMR, the quality sensitive.
Terrific. Guys, as you have seen, I have cut my range test a little bit short. Actually, I did the range test twice, and each time I did the range test, the Retevis RT28, and I have to really say this honestly, have not performed as good as I am knowing this from Retevis. Usually Retevis is one of my favorite brands because they have a good price value, and a lot of the Retevis radios perform really good. But for some strange reason, I don't know why, the RT28 that I have here, maybe it's a manufacturing defect or something that was missed in quality control, I really can't say, but the range is not as good as on other models that I have tested. No clue why. So maybe I can get a second pair of those and retest this again at some later point. But that's why I'm doing these tests, to give you an honest review, and I try my best to make this balanced somehow. Always take the range test with a grain of salt, but yeah, on my reference route, these have not performed as I have come to expect from other Retevis products. This concludes the review. Guys, if you want, head over to my channel page. There is a two-way radio playlist, and in which you can find a lot of other reviews and some Retevis radios, like the ones that I tested last time, the smaller ones with the light. I can overlay a picture here. They perform much better, and yeah, I've tested a lot of radios, and usually they are great. Not sure what's going on with those. I digress. Awesome for tuning in. A lot of people have already subscribed because of the useful content that I provide for you. That you can do that right now as well. I see you in the next video. Take care. And because you just watched one of my two-way radio reviews, you might also be interested in comparing the radios that you just saw against some waterproof models, such as these Retevis RT648. Those are also very nice. I tested them outside in the water and they performed. They were absolutely watertight. Guys, you can subscribe right now to my channel. A lot of people have already done so because of the useful content that I provide for you here. I see you in the next video. Take care.